Hello, this is Jasmine with another video today about the healing properties of astrological planets. Um, if you Google healing planets or something like that, you don't really get many articles about the actual healing property of each planet. Most articles or most videos are in relation either to the metals or also body parts, organs that are ruled by certain planets, things like that, or it's about herbs, like herbs and planets. Or you get videos on how to heal Saturn wounds, stuff like that, like how to heal the actual planet in your chart. But and also to understand better what I mean by I'm exploring the alchemical properties of the planets, and you can watch my series on that, where I describe how these planets actually work within your energy body. And also here, the first thing to realize is the astrological planets are not outside, they're not only outside of you, they're also inside. Basically, you're just a mirror in between. And the way, as far as we know, the way the planets work is through the chakra system. They work from through the inside. Okay, your energy body will change, and it does have an influence on organs, on glands, on the dryness of the body, how much moisture is in the body. Things of that nature are influenced by the planets and their transits. Um, and of course, every planetary energy can be used for good or for bad. I think that should be clear. Everything can be in harmony or disharmonious. So every planet has good or bad, obviously. Okay. And also the things that I'm talking about here, it's not some other information that you will hear in other videos or read elsewhere. Okay, so like I said, every energy of the planet can be either good or bad, meaning conducive to life or destructive. So here, good and bad is defined as conducive for life, for growth, or destructive. That's a very plainly put definition here. Mm, so first, I'll give a wrap down of the personal planets. So Sun, Moon, Venus, Mars, Mercury, um, and then later I go on to Jupiter, Neptune, Uranus, and Pluto, and we'll also talk about the nodes, of course. But also here, I've described in other videos as well. So the personal planets, usually they're the ones reacting to the outer planet, okay? So especially if we're talking about healing, um, it's usually the outer planet that throws a transit either onto your Mars or your ascendant or a planet going through your sixth house. There are certain combinations that are more conducive for medical healing, also, some form of getting rid of an illness or whatever. Okay, so also here you have to remember the personal planets do function a bit differently, and that's why I have two parts. I also separated the video in two parts because it would be too much to talk, especially about Neptune. Everybody knows Neptune is considered the healing planet, so that will be a larger portion. So I'll start out with the sun. The sun in your chart rules our consciousness and basic awareness. Obviously, the sun is hot, but it's not hot in the same way as Mars, which can literally cause inflammation. It is particularly when the sun is afflicted, either by transit or in the natal chart, that we can perceive something has not been healed. Either the person's will is diminished, as with Neptune, or they come on too strong, as with Pluto or Mars on the sun. In other words, it is rather the sun that needs to be healed by the other planetary energies. So, nevertheless, the sun, since it is awareness, it also rules your goals in life, your will. So it should not be underestimated. You know how important your will is, your and your goals in life. You know, so also a sense of what's right and what's wrong is also associated with a sun. So a well-functioning sun will just be more conscious. You know, other than that, the sun is out there. You know, it's not typically considered the planet of healing in that sense, but it's more combinations with the sun. Or the sun in a sign like Pisces, sun in certain nakshatras in the lunar mansions can indicate healer properties. You know. So the second astrological planet is the moon. The moon rules the home, habits, and also nurturing. It is moist or damp, unlike its opposite Saturn, which is dry, right? The moon is fluctuating yet habitual. If you look at the moon phases, it has got a concrete effect on water, whether it's the tidal behavior of the sea or the water in your body. A lot can be said about the moon phases and how they contribute to potential healing or many other things. Here it is about timing. Yeah, if you look at the moon phases, that's also very important. Since the moon is the most receptive planet, it would not be an active healing energy, but rather the reception of such. A healthy moon is one of the best protection against hurt caused by abuse, emotional pain caused by abuse, because the person is in touch with their inner emotions and can easily detect when something's off. So they're better at reading people also and protecting themselves. But I'll make a whole separate video how to work with the moon phases because it deserves its own attention. Plus, it's a bit different from the actual alchemical state of the moon. The moon is very fluctuating here. And of course, the moon is also connected to your stomach, you know, hence the intuition. Like you should always listen to your stomach if something happens. And moon rules the women. If you have a nice transit on the moon, maybe a Jupiter transit on the moon, now maybe you'll find a female healer, you know, so you can also use that. The moon will Jupiter moon, you'll have better relations with women, and that can bring a female healer actually. Now, Mercury. The first thing to mention about how Mercury can heal is by receiving the right information. Simply the right type of information. Maybe there's a nutritional supplement that you need and somebody tells you about that and and that's exactly what you needed. So that's Mercury. And here prayers can do wonders, by the way, whether it's information about health or stuff or that you're lacking or about a certain person. If you actually pray to God, information is usually given to you. So these prayers are easily heard. The prayer of Mercury is easily heard. If you really want information, you can get it. It might come to you through another person, through something you read. So Mercury is words. Mercury is intellect as well. And sometimes it is concrete information that you need for some healing. It could be a certain supplement that you're lacking, and somebody talks about it. Wow. Um, so, but Mercury also rules the hands. Don't underestimate the role of Mercury and the ability to heal with your hands. This is particularly true with the Ketu in the Mercury nakshatra. Other than that, it is usually also here. It's usually Mercury that needs to be healed due to it also has a connection to the nervous system. An unhealed Mercury shows itself through nervousness and an inability to focus on thoughts or speech. These are people who cannot listen also. In order to heal Mercury, you need to learn to speak your mind. So that's the healing of Mercury is can very well be speaking your thoughts. That's why freedom of speech is so important because it will also have an effect on the body. If you always have to hold back what you're saying, and Mercury or the alchemy of Mercury, it is a chemical component. So it's quicksilver. So it's very it's actually very toxic. It can be very toxic. I don't know how that applies. I mean, information can also be toxic, but it's the most liquid metal, right? So Mercury can go also with the body parts. It's your nervous system. It's your hands. It's your speech. Mercury is a bit all over the place. But first and foremost, in terms of healing property or what needs to be healed with Mercury is the nervous system. And through Mercury, you can heal the nervous system by speaking your mind or getting the right information, you know. And Mercury, because Mercury itself is unemotional, Mercury can handle information without emotion also. So Mercury is very detached. It's really about information here, transmitting information. Um, okay. So one thing I forgot, I think the moon is also associated. The moon is also rules the retina of the eyes. Moon has to do with eyesight, the retina, and the blood. I believe it also rules blood. Now, Mars, the energy of Mars is very heated. Now, Mars, in my mind at least, it's now we're getting actually a bit closer because now you have an active alchemy in your body. There's an active action happening from Mars or reaction, whatever you want to call it. And because Mars is there for the ultimate cause of inflammation in the body. So that's one common observation you can make for yourself when you get a cold or flu. Look at what Mars is doing in the sky onto your chart. Transiting Mars in square or opposition to your Sun or Mars or sometimes ascendant is almost always involved when catching a cold or other types of inflammation. Also, the head is ruled by Mars, so headaches might appear now. Now, the trick here is with Mars, if you do get ill under a Mars transit, it shows that you're not normally expressing Mars in a healthy way. So this is your way to gauge whether you express the warrior energy of Mars in a healthy way in your day-to-day life. If you do, if your Mars is in balance and you're able to fight for yourself when necessary, that would be one manifestation. You won't get ill under Mars. If you do get these inflammation problems under Mars, it shows you your ego is not expressing itself freely, or you're not actually fighting for a cause that's really important to you. You're not fighting for yourself. The Mars problems can show an imbalance with ego, ego problems. Your ego is too weak or too strong or whatever, but it's not expressed in a healthy way. So it's quite interesting with Mars here. It's a good gauge to see how well this Mars energy is expressed. And obviously, Mars would be very important here in receiving healing energy, especially from Jupiter or Neptune, you know. Although Mars is not very receptive, actually, but it can be soothed. Neptune can soothe Mars in that respect. I'll talk about Neptune later. Now, the next planet, Venus. As we all know, Venus is the planet of love. And what could be more healing than love? But why exactly does she rule love? And is it really true? Well, actually, it isn't true after all. There are couples who fall in love whose Venus is not connected to each other. The planetary alchemy of Venus does not really rule love per se, but the state of saturation or satisfaction, you could also say. The energy of Venus is soothing, satisfied, it's happy, you know. Insofar, you could say that Venus is the first planet which actually can really affect your nervous system in a positive way, namely by being lazy. Venus is lazy but filled. The moon is passive but empty. So that's the difference here. Both are feminine planets, but Venus is fulfilled, the alchemical state. Um, when Venus is conjunct to your sun, moon, or ascendant, you might want to do nothing that day and also feel happy doing nothing. But or do whatever you do to relax, watching movies or whatever. And those who still believe in shopping therapy might actually be right on the Venus. You might actually buy something really nice. But since Venus is saturated, healing can only go so deep here. It is already saturated. Nevertheless, you should not underestimate the importance of having at least one day in the week where you allow yourself to be lazy without having any plans and activities you need to do. Venus does not have to prove herself. And for some, this can be an important state of being in their healing journey. To learn to do nothing and be satisfied with yourself. And under a Venus day, they'll be the most conducive. That's when it actually happens naturally. That would happen naturally when Venus is very strong. And you should not feel guilty if Venus is on your sun in conjunction and you can hang out all day and do nothing. That's part of healing here. Because here's the nervous system. I think the nervous system is probably one of the most important aspects in healing, right? So Venus can have a very soothing effect on your nervous system. And that's why it also well, it's harmony, right? Venus also rules the golden ratio, harmony, aesthetics. So Venus in healing should not be underestimated as well. Okay, now I'm going to talk about Jupiter, and that's the last planet for this video. Jupiter rules the alchemical state of expansion. And although Jupiter generally is seen as lucky, it could also, one of the worst implementations could be the growth of a tumor, right? So Jupiter will just enlarge things. And I think the worst, that would be like one of the unluckiest things with Jupiter, that if you have a tumor, it might actually get larger here. So having said that about the planet of luck, most times it's lucky, no worries. Most times Jupiter really is very beneficial, but you shouldn't forget that its alchemy consists of expansion. So it could also be negative things that could be blown up here. And it should also be clear that Jupiter's energy itself isn't really conducive to weight loss. Lots of time, people who have a problem with weight, with being overweight, look at their moon placement. Very often they have moon in a Jupiter ruled nakshatra in the Vedic astrology. These are Jupiter, there is some strong Jupiter, when people are constantly struggling with weight loss, and often the moon is placed in a Jupiter ruled nakshatra. Um, but what Jupiter will do when it comes onto your sun or Mars, or ascendant, it will get you out of the house or out in nature. Jupiter also rules nature beyond your city limits. So it's not just a city park, it's wilderness, really getting out into the mountains or whatnot, going camping. All of that is Jupiter energy. Sleeping outdoors would be Jupiter, for a holiday or something. Um, so I would say that's one of the most positive healing effects that Jupiter can have. That it does get you out, especially in nature. Um, now, and that's because Jupiter is a fire planet, meaning in Western astrology it rules Sagittarius, which is a fire sign. And here we do see a bit, we see a difference between, because in Vedic astrology, Jupiter rules Pisces. They don't have Neptune, right? And is therefore also associated with healing and spirituality. But Pisces is not a fire sign. Um, Pisces for us is ruled by Neptune, at least in Western astrology, and they do have some significantly different properties. And one of them is that Jupiter is more fiery, where Neptune is not all like that. So, and a good Jupiter transit can be an all-round healer, so to speak. Not only does it invigorate the solar plexus, which I don't think Neptune really does. I think Jupiter is more solar plexus. It makes you more confident. It also it can create feelings of euphoria and just confidence that you can go out into the world. So that's what makes Jupiter a bit different. Um, but go out into foreign countries. Jupiter might take you abroad. It just takes you out of your boundaries. And if it takes you out in nature, that will be particularly healing, really. Um, okay. Jupiter, if you have it positive, if you have Jupiter on your Mars, especially, it's just a general all-round healer. It might also have a positive effect on the glands in the body, um, the fluids, the fluids work better. So Jupiter can be very healing, but it is expansive, it is holistic. So Jupiter is also all around, but you will feel the solar plexus. There's a stronger energy in the solar plexus during nice Jupiter transits. So yeah, this is a little bit about how planets heal, or what part makes healing, so to speak. What is it that needs to be healed, and how can you use it? And obviously, with all of these energies, especially Jupiter, you always read, there's the danger of eating too much or consuming too much, because Jupiter can make you a bit gluttonous. So it all depends on how you use these energies, and that's exactly what I'm trying to convey here. Also, under a good Jupiter transit, this is when you should go out if you want to find a spiritual healer. Now you would attract the right person if Jupiter is in a harmonic transit, either in trine to your sun, in sextile to your sun. That'd be very conducive if you want to do some healing, Reiki or whatnot. You can look at the transit, and it will really help you. Mm. Okay, other than that, like I say, it's the personal planets that need to be affected by the impersonal planet, and I'll continue with the second part shortly. So I hope this was interesting, and let me know, if there's anything I missed. I'm sure there's a lot I missed. There's a lot more to talk about the planets and how they're associated with body parts, um, and organs and all that. But this is more based on my observation, what I've seen over the years how these planets actually work. And if we're talking about healing, especially holistic healing, the most important aspect would be healing the nervous system. So, on that note, take care, and I'll see you soon.